Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and on today's film journey, we're talking to Grogu, Baby Yoda, aka he even talks. It took me forever to find this little guy. I've been loving The Mandalorian, and this just kind of got me thinking, there's been some shows that I've been currently watching. I've kind of stepped a little bit away from some of the films that I've been watching. I've been watching a lot of Hammer films if you've been focusing on the channel lately, but I'm watching a lot of other things, such as shows and also, movies as well. So I just wanted to showcase little baby Grogu. And yeah, he's going to be in some future videos, and he's definitely going to be in the thumbnail, so you're not going to be terribly surprised. But yeah, before we jump into this series, I want to say this is like a revival of the Q series. I haven't really talked about the Q series in quite some time. It's been about 4 months, since around September, and it's because October was a themed month, right? Halloween. November was a themed month. I talked a lot about noirs, and in December we talked about holiday films and Christmas films, and so really, I haven't had the opportunity to really focus on the Q series in particular. I mean, we've done iterations of it. But anyway, today we're going to talk about the films that I've been watching for the first half of January. Before we jump into that, though, I want to know, down in the comment section down below, tell me what have you been watching for the first half of January? Have you been watching TV shows like The Mandalorian? Or even Cobra Kai? I just been starting to watch that. We'll talk about that in a second. Or have you been watching any films? Let me know in the comment section down below. So let's actually jump into the films that I have seen for the month of January so far. All right, so the first film that I watched is actually a rewatch. This is the third time I've seen this film, but it was the first film that I watched for 2021, and that was 1917. And I don't know why, but I was in a weird mood on January 2nd to where I wanted to watch this film, and I was just blown away. And I just recently got a 4K player, so I definitely need to upgrade this to 4K. But I'm really happy about this film. This is a gorgeous film. Sam Mendes did a fantastic job, and obviously Roger Deakins did a fantastic job shooting. But besides them, I mean, George McKay's performance is just fantastic, and is also his friend Dean Charles Chapman, two soldiers who are on their way on their mission to pretty much call off an attack because it's a trap from the Germans in World War I. And good God, this movie is just gorgeous, and it's also just a really harrowing film. And if you haven't seen it, I just absolutely love war films, as dramatic as they are, because sometimes a lot of war films like to over sensationalize a lot of the things. I feel like 1917 did a really good job of balancing that with the hardship of it, and also like making it soaring, like the score and the shots and everything like that. So it's like a weird balance of beauty and horror. And yeah, 1917 is a fantastic film. It's definitely one of the best war films of recent memory, and if you haven't checked it out, definitely do so already, because it's been out for, I guess, almost a year and a half now. And so yeah, check out 1917 if you haven't. So moving on from 1917, we have a film by one of my favorite upcoming actors / directors. He does all of it, like producing, writing it, all of it. And I just absolutely love this man. Ever since I saw him in Thunder Road, the full-length film, I guess he did a short film talking about Jim Cummings, and I'm talking about The Wolf of Snow Hollow. This is his latest film that he put out. I think he's working on a film right now. I think he's almost done with his third film. But The Wolf of Snow Hollow is a horror comedy of sorts, and it's also a drama. If you've seen any of Jim Cummings' work, which are the two, if you've seen Thunder Road, you know he is an amazing director, and also an amazing actor who can really put himself in a film and also just show how versatile and emotional he is with the characters that he puts in the situations and scenarios that he puts himself in. But with this one, it's a horror film, right? It's a horror film about a werewolf. Apparently there's a werewolf going around killing women, and Jim Cummings is like the only one who's like, no, this isn't a werewolf, but almost all signs point to it's a werewolf, and it's really funny, but it's also a family drama, like Jim Cummings has done in the past with Thunder Road. You're seeing a breakdown of this sheriff, and he's pretty much the sheriff to be at the moment. His dad is almost on the verge of retiring, but he's also having some health issues, and so he's really stressed out with that. And he has got a lot of incompetent officers around him, just kind of pulling his leg and saying off the wall kind of comments towards him. And yeah, this movie on top of a werewolf of all things. So if you haven't seen this movie, I'd certainly check this one out. I think it's relatively cheap on Amazon. I also saw that it was at Target as well online. I haven't looked at it, but I think it's around $14.99, but it's definitely worth your time. And if you haven't seen any of Jim Cummings' work, definitely pick this one out. and get Thunder Road. I think Thunder Road's only available on DVD. It's across the bay. But yeah, Jim Cummings, I cannot wait to see more of his work, and the Wolf of Snow Hollow is just such a great film, and it's highly recommended on my behalf. So yeah, have you seen this one? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now we're going to move into a film where I'm going to lose a lot of credibility. The film I'm going to lose a lot of credibility on is because I'm a big NBA fan now, is Uncle Drew. And Uncle Drew stars Kyrie Irving, Shaquille O'Neal, Reggie Miller, of all the NBA stars here as well. But it also has Nick Kroll, little Ray Howery, and then Tiffany Haddish as well. And a whole slew of other NBA stars who are dressed up as old people, as you will. And yeah, it's this geriatric basketball team. Kyrie Irving is Uncle Drew, and he's just a legendary street ball player. And there's this big street tournament happening, and pretty much all the parts come together. It's this comedy. It's very specific to people who really like NBA, and I will say that it's not for everybody, but I had a good time. It's not the best film in the world. It's definitely not the best film in the world. It's definitely probably, out of all the films we're going to be talking about today, probably the worst, objectively. But subjectively for me, it was a fun one. I don't know. As somebody who is a fan of basketball now, I'm kind of consuming as much basketball as I can. And I've lost my voice just talking about basketball. But yeah, Uncle Drew, have you seen it? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you have unsubscribed due to the fact that I've talked about this film, let me know down in the description down below why you did that. Okay, now we're going to move on to something that maybe is a little bit more respectable. It's a Criterion from Yasujiro Ozu. Alright, so the movie I'm talking about involves farts. Good morning. I finally watched this movie. I was in a particular mood. It struck me that I'm like, I want to watch this light heart comedy film about two boys who just want a television, and apparently a lot of farts ensued. I really love this film, and it's from 1959. This is spy number 84, so it's early on in the collection, and I believe this was updated to Blu-ray not that long ago. But it's such a wonderful film. It's just such a great film, and it'll put a smile on your face. It's uniquely Japanese because a lot of, like I said, the fart jokes seem to be a little bit cultural, but also it's just little boys, right? So I guess it is just little boys as well, just doing these things, and then also grown men farting as well. They are also in this film. But yeah, just this simple tale, more or less, about these boys wanting a television, but it's also the tales of everybody in this remote area. They're all kind of living together in this apartment complex, and they're really, really close together. There's a lot of gossip going around, a lot of things that are unfair. It's like this turn of the century thing for a lot of the Japanese people, because there's this young couple that has a television that's inviting all these kids over and kind of flipping the script on the traditional Japanese family dynamic. So it's really interesting to kind of see all that into play. But I'm really excited to check out the special features on this, because I know that I Was Born But, which is a 1932 silent comedy, which is very similar to this film, based on the video essay that I saw from David Carnes talking about Ozu's use of humor, which I really, really enjoyed that special feature. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that 1932 silent film, which is, I guess, a cousin or an adjacent film to this one, an earlier prototype to this type of film. And so yeah, I've only seen Ozu's kind of more dramatic films like Tokyo Story, and I really love this one. This actually might be my favorite Ozu film, because I have to be in a very particular mood to watch Ozu. And Good Morning, I could probably watch it any time and have a great time with it, and also just, Now we're going to move on from here to a television series that I just recently watched. So moving on to an HBO miniseries that has been on a lot of people's radar recently. In fact, the reason I finally watched it was my friend Steph from Movie Chatter. She recently talked about getting the Steelbook, the 4K. I just have the normal Blu-ray of it. I bought it a few months ago, but I've been meaning to watch it. It's only a 5-episode miniseries from HBO. It's Chernobyl, and God damn, this is a great series. Yeah, I've been sleeping on some series lately because I've been busy watching films, right? But this miniseries with Jared Harris, I almost said Alexander Skarsgård, Stellan Skarsgård, his dad, and then Emily Watson as well. This cast of characters, especially Jared Harris, I don't know. Ever since I saw him in The Terror, I mean, I've seen him in past roles like Mr. Deeds of all things. But Jared Harris has just been blowing my mind in television series, and I'm sure he's been doing that for a while, but I've just been sleeping on it. But yeah, Chernobyl was just a fantastic series. Fantastic might not even be the best word for it, because it's just really harrowing. It's also just really dark and depressing, and this awful accident that happened in 1986 is just it's still transforming a lot of the lives, the people involved today, and also the people who were silenced in this film. And it says that, what is the cost of lives, which is actually the last line of the entire series. And yeah, it's just terrifying, and there's just a lot of things that went wrong with this particular disaster, and it's definitely one of the worst disasters that we've seen of all time. And yeah, this is very harrowing. It's dramatic, kind of like I was saying with 1917 a little bit. It's a little dramatized, obviously. I think Emily Watson's character is made up for this series, just to add some drama to it. But the character that Jared Harris plays, who's based on this scientist, you see at the very, very beginning of the series, it alludes to that he's going to end his life based on what happens within the series, and that time span that he tries to more or less fix this, and also try to showcase to the world that this was a Soviet error. And it's a great series. If you haven't seen Chernobyl already, definitely go do yourself a favor and check it out. And the recreation of the events that happened, but also of like pretty much the blast zone, seeing everything after the aftermath of it, is pretty identical. So look at like this compared to the real life like pictures of the disaster and like what the cleanup looked like. It's really harrowing. So yeah, check out Chernobyl if you haven't seen it. It's a great series. Get the 4K if you want. But I have the Blu-ray right here, and it's good enough for me. And we're gonna move on for here, going back to Japan, to another lighthearted film. I've been really in the mood for some lighthearted films. I've been going back and forth between really terrifying things like 1917 and Chernobyl, to Good Morning, and now I'm talking about I Wish, which is Hirokazu Koreeda film, which is a really, really lovely, lovely film. And honestly, it just put a big smile on my face. So this is the trilogy right here, the Family Values trilogy, Arrow Video put out. I've had this on my shelf for a while, but my friend Chris Moen, he actually recently was like, you should watch this for January, because it's a new year, and so I'm going to try some lighthearted things here, like from Koreeda. But I Wish is such a fantastic film about two actual real-life brothers who are separated in this story on this island, and they're trying to meet up and like bring their family back together. And I don't know. It's one of those films that shows you the childlike imagination going on with the two brothers and all their friends, and like the adventures that they go on, because they run away from their families just to get together and see each other, and they're trying to make a wish. And that wish is when the two bullet trains that recently have been on the island cross paths at the same exact time. And there's also like a volcano in the background, an active volcano that is in the real life where they're at in this island is still active to today. And so it's really interesting. It's really creative. It's beautiful. It's got a really great score as well. It's got great acting in it, and these brothers are just phenomenal. I mean, in real life, they're actual brothers, and they also play really great brothers on the screen. And so, yeah, I really loved this film, I Wish, and I cannot wait to watch Like Father, Like Son and After the Storm, another part of this trilogy. I guess it's a trilogy, but anyway, have any of you seen any of Koreeda's films? I've only seen a few. And I've seen Shoplifters, and I've seen I Wish now. And so I'm excited to check out his older catalog and also the other films that he's done. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below if you've seen these ones. And next we're going to move on to a Criterion. And the last film I'm going to be talking about before we jump into some TV series is I've been watching this film, this German film from 2014. And it is Spy Number 809. It's Criterion. It is Phoenix. And I've been wanting to watch this for quite some time, but I think Elliot Cohen recently talked about it on either a podcast or a video, and it just like, oh, yep, I've had that on my shelf for a while. I want to watch this. It's a revenge story post-World War II. It's a survivor from Auschwitz, and she had reconstructive surgery, and it's more or less a forlorn tale of her trying to find her husband and also get revenge potentially on the people who, put her in this internment camp, but has to figure out whether or not her husband is the one who turned her in. But her husband doesn't recognize her with, the reconstructive surgery, so it's very interesting. It's very different from any type of film you've seen in this kind of category or camp, and it's super interesting and enthralling, and it's one of the most unique films I've seen. And it's directed by Christian Petzold. I completely probably butchered that name, but this is such a fantastic film, and I've been wanting to watch the special features on it, but I just haven't had time yet. But yeah, I've slept on this one for far too long, and I think this is a underappreciated and under talked about film from Criterion. But yeah, check out Phoenix if you haven't seen it. But those are the films that I've watched for January, the first half of January. But I've also been watching, like I said, Mandalorian. You got my little Grogu here. Mandalorian has been great. I've been enjoying every second of it, and honestly, I cannot wait for season 3. I'm a Star Wars fan. I always have been, even if I've really not shown it too much. It's been a lifelong kind of passion of mine, like many other people. And so Star Wars is just, I'm really enjoying The Mandalorian just because it's episodic. It feels very, I guess space western-y, which is something that's overutilized and talked about a lot. But I'm very excited and very proud of what they're doing with it, and I'm excited for it. And Grogu, he's a genocidal bastard, but he's cute, and so that is something that I'll just have to pretend he's not that monster that he really is. And then if you've seen the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the other thing I've watched is Cobra Kai, and I've actually in the middle of season 2 right now. Can't really talk about the new season because I'm still watching it at the moment. I've been not watching that show for quite some time, but I'm really enjoying it so far. And as a fan of the Karate Kid growing up, it's really nice to see the love and attention kind of brought back with Cobra Kai, and see these redemption stories between our two heroes and villains at the same time, because it's very gray. But yeah, that's all I've been watching for the month of January. I want to know down in the comment section down below, what have you been watching? Let me know what you thought of my choices. Let me, once again, tell me why you unsubscribed from Uncle Drew. I want to know. So thank you very much for checking out this video. Like, comment down below, share, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.